Hello everyone and welcome to Brave Souls Rewind, the show where I 200 older characters so you don't have to. Today I'll be covering the heart version of Shukuro's Tsukishima, who is by far my favorite villain in Bleach. Sorry Aizen. Now I have fond memories of this character despite him not being good in the past. Now it's time to see if Resurrection changed that. Now like in the past, we started with a normal attack damage build, and this character went from having a plus 20 bruiser to a plus 40 bruiser, one of his many good upgrades after being resurrected. Plus, in addition to that, he's also got the additional 20% damage when he's fully healed, which for him isn't a problem. He's got a strong attack 2 that's a heal move, and his secondary link is the 16% stamina recovery soul trait. The result was actually pretty impressive. He did a lot more damage than I thought he was gonna do, and because of his abilities, keeping his health full wasn't really a problem. Plus, his strong attacks actually dealt damage thanks to him having frenzy now, even when his SP was at 0. That said, if you do take damage with this character, you do lose that 20% boost from your soul trait. In the end, I was still able to clear the quest with this build, though it did take longer than with some other characters. And it did get pretty overwhelmed at times because there was inheritance zones and there's enemies everywhere. So I am gonna say this build is usable, but I wouldn't recommend it unless you have to. And definitely don't take it in co-op. Look, I know, the bleep loop is gone, I got a new computer, and it didn't survive the transfer. I'm sorry. Next up we have the strong attack recharge / strong attack damage build, and I was actually very excited for this build. Tsukishima goes from having berserker to frenzy, and his strong attacks have always had decent range. He's also got havoc at 10, which does kind of help out a little. Now, Tsukishima has a captain killer, which does definitely suck, but with that said, he did more damage than I was expecting him to. Most of the enemies went down with a single strong attack despite not having any killer advantage, and my normal attack still dealt a decent amount of damage thanks to an increase of 60% from his own abilities, as long as his health was full of course. Which definitely wasn't hard to keep for this build, since your strong attacks come back faster, and you're able to heal a lot quicker too. This also means you can use your strong attack 1 more frequently, and that has a chance to inflict debilitating weakening, which is always nice. In the end, this build is definitely still viable, but I would say only in single player. Don't get me wrong, I did beat Inheritance Zone at a respectable time with this build, though I'm not sure just how much damage you'd be able to get out of him in co-op, though he would be a pretty good healer. Now finally we have the hybrid build. Definitely the best build out of the three. You dealt a lot more damage with your normal attack and your strong attacks, though they didn't come back as fast. The clear time on this build was actually faster than the previous one, but I will say I was a bit more stressed while doing this, since I knew my link would become inactive if I were to take any damage. And sure, he can heal himself, but under the last build I was able to do that more frequently, so I could afford to be a bit more reckless. I'm still gonna say this build is better, since it makes pretty good use of his normal attacks and his strong attacks, but again, much like the last build, maybe don't take him in co-op, since you can still get overwhelmed with enemies pretty easily there. In the end, I was pleasantly surprised by this Tsukishima. I've always really liked him, so I'm really glad he's still somewhat usable if only in single player. Don't get me wrong, there's definitely a lot faster options, and yes, the Senkaimon Aizen build is definitely usable for him. The only reason I didn't include him is because not everyone has easy access to Senkaimon Aizen. Plus, you really have to keep all your health for that build.
私を捕らえることはできん。終わりだ。
Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit like and subscribe to the channel, and let me know what other characters you want to see in a rewind.